Okay, so this guy was really divisive with fans. Argyle from Stranger Things season 4, where a lot of people thought he brought this fun, comedic energy to the show as the surfer boy, but then a lot of people also thought he was flat out too ridiculous to be in the series, and it looks like those people won because this guy is definitely not in season 5. Stranger Things as a franchise has definitely struggled to break out of the setting of Hawkins, Indiana, with the big example being season 2, episode 7, where they went to Chicago for easily the most panned episode in the series. In season 4, they would try again, this time taking about a third of the cast and then bring them to California, and even though it was a really solid effort, it was definitely nobody's biggest storyline of that season. That's because it really just got overshadowed by much cooler stories going on in Russia and also Hawkins, but then at the same time, for the California crew, it was actually more centered in Nevada, with Millie Bobby Brown's character being kept in a lab there. Led the California crew to having this 11 rescue story where a lot of the characters who were previously big in the other seasons felt like they just had a side plot this season where they were really of no relevancy, but then at the same time they introduced this random character of Argyle. And Argyle, played by Eduardo Franco, was really the Duffer Brothers idea where they wanted to capture some sort of California image to stay with the show, so they decided to introduce this character to be the perfect summary of California. Problem was, for season 4, there were a lot of good characters introduced, like Joseph Quinn, who played the character of Eddie Munson, as well as that other character Enzo in the Russian storyline, so there really wasn't that much room for Argyle, who felt like more of just a comedic waste of time. Looking at how useless the character of Argyle is, I'm actually convinced the only reason they wrote this character in was just as some sort of way for people not to be convinced that Joseph Quinn's character of Eddie was going to die in season 4. Because when you look at Stranger Things, they do have this tradition where pretty much every season there is this character that's built up and they seem like a nice guy that's newly introduced, and they decide to kill that character off later on. Most fans of the show thought the character of Enzo was going to be completely safe because in season 3 there was a Russian character who gets killed again, so a lot of people didn't think they'd have just 2 Russians die in a row. Most people knew it was going to be one of these 2 characters to get killed off, and most people were leaning on Joseph Quinn because there was nothing really dangerous this guy did or any meaning to the story, but yeah, I think overall Eduardo Franco just served as a fake out for Joseph Quinn. Once he served that purpose, he really didn't have another purpose, where Eduardo Franco said early on in the development for Stranger Things Season 5, he wasn't invited back to return, where his character will not be in Season 5 at all, not even for a cameo. Franco was asked about that, where he said at the end of the day, he thinks the writers viewed his character as more of a distraction, where he was kind of a Season 4 thing, but when the plot was going to be centered completely on Hawkins in Season 5, he kind of speculated he'd have a small or no role in Season 5. The good news is Eduardo Franco holds no bitterness at all in Stranger Things for doing this, saying it massively elevated his career to be in the show, and also he's still a working actor, and yeah, he's working out where he got absolutely ripped since season 4 came out. That being said, I think they could have kept this guy around for season 5. They didn't have to give him a big part like the previous season, but at the same time, I think if he was there just in a supporting role, helping them out on the missions, that would be completely fine. But with that, I'm Charles Prawl. Please subscribe to learn something.